The billionaire's private jet was grounded. The best engineers in the country were called in. Every expert, every technician. And still, no one could fix it. With millions on the line and time running out, hope was slipping away, until a dusty old pickup pulled up to the runway. Out stepped a grease-covered mechanic no one had ever heard of. People laughed. Security tried to turn him away. But within hours, this humble stranger did what no one else could. And when they asked him how, his answer left everyone speechless. The sun blazed over the runway of a secluded private airstrip just outside Aspen, Colorado. A state-of-the-art Gulfstream G800 jet stood still on the tarmac, its engines silent, its panels wide open, and its future uncertain. Inside a glass-walled hangar, billionaire tech mogul Richard Holston paced in frustration. His private jet, worth over $75 million, was dead. It had malfunctioned mid-air 3 days ago and landed with difficulty. Since then, the best aviation engineers from around the country had flown in, but none could identify the problem. Richard's frustration wasn't about the money. It was about time. He was supposed to fly to Japan for a crucial merger that could change the trajectory of his empire and the lives of thousands of employees. But now, all he had were excuses from experts and blank stares from engineers. "Another hour, another invoice," he muttered angrily. But no solutions. As the chaos continued, a dusty pickup truck rattled its way onto the runway's edge. The security guards approached it warily. Out stepped a man in oil-stained overalls, with rough hands and grease on his face. His name was Samuel "Sam" Burke, a 54-year-old mechanic from a small town called Leadville, about 2 hours away. "Y'all got a bird down?" he asked casually, squinting up at the massive jet. The guards looked at him skeptically. "You're not on the approved list," one said. "I heard on the radio that Holston's jet was stuck. Figured I'd offer a hand," Sam said, patting the side of his truck. "Ain't the fanciest toolbox, but it's fixed a few things." The guards laughed. One of them muttered, "We've got MIT grads and ex-military engineers working on that plane. What's an old guy from nowhere gonna do?" But just then, Emily, Richard Holston's executive assistant, happened to be walking by. She'd heard the last part of the conversation and looked at Sam. Something about his calm, grounded demeanor struck a chord. "Let him try," she said, surprising everyone. "We've tried everything else." Sam was escorted to the hangar. Engineers rolled their eyes. Richard looked at him once, then dismissed him. Sam didn't speak much. He walked around the jet slowly, like a man admiring a sculpture. He touched the undercarriage, placed his ear to the fuselage, and even tapped certain parts with a small hammer from his bag. The younger engineers chuckled in the background. "He thinks he's fixing a tractor." But Sam kept working, for hours, quietly, patiently. He didn't use complex tools, just his hands, ears, and instincts. At one point, he pulled out a magnifying glass and stared at a nearly invisible crack in a circuit board beneath the cockpit. He called Emily over. "This here," he said softly. "This relay's damaged. It's tiny, but it's messing with the pressure sensors. That's why she wouldn't lift right. Bet none of your computers flagged it because it mimics a software glitch." Emily's eyes widened. She didn't understand every word, but she felt he was on to something. She called the lead engineer. Within an hour, Sam had patched the problem using a makeshift connector from his truck. When the engines fired up and roared for the first time in days, jaws dropped. The impossible had just happened. As the jet revved to life and crews scrambled to run final checks, Richard Holston finally approached the humble mechanic. "You're not like the rest," Richard said. Where'd you learn to do that? Sam hesitated. His voice was quiet, and his eyes drifted toward the mountains. I used to work for Lockheed Martin, he said. Design team for fighter jets. I was good. Real good. But my boy, Matthew, he got sick. Leukemia. I couldn't travel anymore. So I left it all behind. Opened a small garage near home. Fixed trucks and tractors. Kept life simple. Richard blinked. What happened to your son? He fought hard, Sam whispered. But he passed 8 years ago. He was only 15. The hangar was silent. Even the humming jet engines seemed to quiet for a moment. I still hear his voice sometimes, Sam added, smiling softly, telling me to keep fixing things, to help when no one else can. Richard stood in stunned silence. This man had more knowledge, more heart, and more integrity than any of the specialists he'd flown in. I want to hire you, Richard said. Name your price. I need people like you. Sam shook his head. I'm not looking for a job, sir. I like my garage. I like my quiet. But you could lead innovations, train teams, save lives, Richard said earnestly. This isn't just about jets. It's about people like you being where you're needed. Sam paused. He looked at the jet, then at Richard. I'm not against helping, he finally said, but I do it my way. No suits, no boardrooms. I'll fix what needs fixing when the world forgets how to listen. Richard smiled. Then I'll call you when the world forgets. Deal? Deal, Sam said, extending a calloused hand. Over the following weeks, the story spread like wildfire. News outlets ran headlines. Unknown mechanic fixes billionaire jet. Shocks aviation world. Sam Burke, the genius in overalls. The mechanic who listened when no one else could. Sam's tiny garage in Leadville became a local landmark. Young apprentices came to learn. Old customers came to thank him again. And one day, a letter arrived in the mail. It was from a single mother whose child had been saved by a non-profit Richard Holston, funded using the merger that Sam made possible. She wrote, Because of you, my daughter is alive. Because you listened. Because you cared. Sam sat on the porch that evening, the letter in one hand and his son's old baseball glove in the other. He looked at the stars and whispered, I did okay, kid. I did okay. Months later, Richard Holston established the Burke Fellowship, a nationwide initiative to support underappreciated mechanics, engineers, and tradesmen from rural towns. The motto? Listen, fix, uplift. And at its heart stood the man who never asked for fame, never chased money, and never forgot the most important lessons: humility, heart, and the healing power of helping others. Sam Burke never became rich, but he became something greater, a legend